not making enough money, having massive amounts of debt, not having at least $2,000 in your emergency fund and where you can just cover any emergencies that come up, simple emergencies, not being able to take care of your loved ones, not being able to give the way you want to. It's not a way to live. In this video, we're going to cover financial literacy and how you cannot be that person that I mentioned earlier. The importance of financial literacy. Let's get into it. What is financial literacy? Financial literacy is the ability to understand and effectively use various financial skills, including personal financial management, budgeting, and investing. When you are financially literate, you have the essential foundations for a smart relationship with money. This can help start a lifelong journey of learning about the financial aspects of your life. The earlier you start to become financially literate, the better off you'll be because of education is the key to a successful financial future. I 100% agree with that. Being in my late 30s and reflecting back on my 20s, that's why I am sharing this information with you all. So some of the so now let's understand financial literacy. So since about the 2000s, financial products and services have become increasingly widespread throughout society, whereas earlier generations of U.S. residents may have purchased goods primarily in cash. Various credit products are popular today, such as credit and debit cards and electronic transfer. A 2021 survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco revealed that 28% of all payments were made via credit card, with only 20% being made in cash. And as I read that, I even think about my own life. And I mostly use cards myself. And when I do use credit cards, I typically treat it like a debit card. So I may use my credit card, and usually within a day or so, I'm paying it right back off. Sure, there's times where we just pay it at the end of the month before the new billing cycle to where we don't have any interest. But that's our experience with credit card debt. Well, with credit cards versus using cash. So I'm a part of that 20% as well. But I do carry cash too because I enjoy that's my tip money. I enjoy giving out as tips. And when I meet homeless people and I don't ask questions, it's my giving back, putting it directly in the hands of people. Tax write off or no tax write off, just what I want to do. So let's talk about in this article in Investopedia. You can go here yourself as well. So now let's talk about the pitfalls of financial illiteracy. Being financially illiterate can lead to many pitfalls, such as being more likely to accumulate unsustainable debt burdens, either through poor spending decisions or a lack of long term preparation. Hey, I bring myself to the front of the congregation. That has been me in the past. So I'm not perfect. And so I'm here to be a vessel and share with you all mistakes that I've made as I'm covering this article. I'll just use myself in some of the examples or others. Okay, this is in turn can lead to poor credit, bankruptcy, housing foreclosure, and other negative consequences. Thankfully, there are now more resources than ever for those wishing to educate themselves about financial topics. There's so many resources out there. There's really no excuse these days. One such resource is the U.S. government sponsored Financial Literacy and Education Commission, which offers a range of free learning opportunities. So you don't necessarily have to pay for it. Okay, so now let's talk about the scope of financial literacy. Although many skills may fall under the umbrella of financial literacy, popular examples include household budgeting, learning how to manage and pay off debts. I have a lot of experience in that space, and evaluating the trade-offs between different credit and investment products. These skills often require at least a working knowledge of key financial concepts such as compound interest and the time value of money. Financial literacy can cover short and long-term financial strategies. The strategy you use will depend on several factors such as your age, naturally, investment time horizon, and risk tolerance. Financial literacy also encompasses knowing how investment decisions made today will impact your tax liability in the future. Yes, that's tax planning is a part of it. Financial products that you may not have thought of that it's financial products. You have mortgages, student loans, health insurance, and self-directed investment accounts have grown in importance, it is imperative for individuals to understand how to use them responsibly. It's also important to know which investment vehicles are best to use when saving, whether for a financial goal like buying a home or for retirement. Other developments in finance, such as e wallets, digital money, and peer to peer lending, can be convenient and cost effective, but require that consumers be educated adequately to use them to their advantage. Be careful on that one. While financial literacy matters, it supports financial well being, day to day living expenses, living within your means, short term borrowing, long term budget forecasting. To manage these and other essential financial realities properly as you go through life, you must be financially literate. Financially literate. It is important to plan and save enough to provide adequate income in retirement while avoiding high levels of debt that might result in bankruptcy, default, and foreclosure. That debt, I'm telling you, it's stressful. It can be very stressful. As I've shared in the previous video, I'm on my journey. Do not have any consumer debt, but we do have a mortgage and we are in the process of aggressively paying that off. And we will have that paid off next year. So we will be 100% debt free as it relates to consumer debt and our mortgage. And then we will turn our attention to some other things as well, focusing on the future. Let's see if there's anything worth mentioning here. In its Economic Well-Being of U.S. Households in 22 report, the U.S. Federal Reserve System Board of Governors found that many Americans are not prepared for retirement. 28% indicate that they have no retirement savings. Wow. While about 31% of those not yet retired felt that their retirement savings were on track. That's good. Among those who have self directed retirement savings, about 63% admitted to feeling low levels of confidence in making retirement decisions. That's understandable. And if you feel it, and if you find yourself in that boat, you gotta get some help, whether it be a fiduciary, whether it be someone that has experience in this space, and you have quarterly meetings with them just to make sure you're on track. But don't go the journey by yourself. But if you are on the side of self directed, still seek out some support and help to make sure you're bouncing ideas off of folks that know what they're doing, and making sure it's a real teacher, someone that's a practitioner and not talking in theory. A lot of these things I have experience with, some things I'm learning as I go, but I want to share with you all as I learn, but I also there's a lot that I know. And so that's why I'm here. Let's talk about the millennials challenge that's in this article. Lack of financial literacy has left millennials, the largest share of the American workforce, unprepared for a severe financial crisis, according to research by the TIAA Institute. Even among those who reported having a high knowledge of personal finance, only 19% answered questions about fundamental financial concepts correctly. That's important. It's important to continue to learn. You're not going to learn it overnight. Learn as you go. The biggest thing is you got to get in the game. 43% reported using expensive alternative financial services such as payday loans. Please, no, don't do that. And pawn shops. More than half lacked an emergency fund to cover 3 months of expenses. I'm currently in a cohort right now. It's a 8-9 week cohort, me and my wife. And yeah, there are some folks in there that don't have an emergency fund, but you can get there. So if you find yourself in a part of that as well, hey, one step at a time, but we got to get that emergency fund up. 37% were financially fragile, sorry, defined as unable or unlikely to be able to come up with 2,000 within a month in the event of an emergency. We got to do more, got to do better, got to improve that number. That's why I'm here. Millennials also carry large amounts of student loan debt and mortgage debt. Yes, that's a fact. In fact, 44% of them said they have too much debt. Interesting. Though these may seem like individual problems, they have a wider effect on the entire population than previously believed. The lack of knowledge of mortgage products prior to the 2008 financial crisis created widespread vulnerability to predatory lending. The financial impact of that crisis affected the entire economy. Financial literacy is an issue with broad implications for economic health, tying into that as well. Benefits of financial literacy. This is what I wanted to get to. So, financial literacy can prevent devastating financial mistakes. Floating rates loans may have different interest rates each month, while traditional individual retirement accounts contributions can't be withdrawn until retirement. For someone unaware of these and other financial facts, seemingly innocent financial decisions may have long-term implications that cost them money or impact life plans. Financial literacy can help individuals avoid making mistakes with their personal finance. 100% agree there. Definitely want to watch out for scam things that are a scam as well. But you also have to check your motive to make sure you're not operating in greed and putting yourself in unnecessary harm's way by just believing people, and it's just not true at all. And so just doing a little bit of research on your end on what you partake in. Financial literacy prepares people for financial emergencies naturally. Topics such as savings or emergency preparedness get individuals ready for uncertain times. Pandemic makes it very apparent for those that were deemed not essential businesses or jobs. That was tough. That was a tough time. Sure, there were some opportunities to be remote, but there were some folks they needed to be there. So that was definitely could have been a challenging time. And $2,000 is not enough, but it sounds like not a lot of people have $2,000. But that can change. Financial literacy can help individuals reach their goals, of course, by better understanding how to budget and save money. I got you on that part. Individuals can create plans that define expectations, hold them accountable to their finances, and set a course for achieving important financial goals. Though someone may not be able to afford a dream today, they can create a plan that can help make it happen. Okay. Yeah. Last thing on the benefits of financial literacy in this Investopedia article: financial literacy gives rise to confidence. Imagine having to make a life changing financial decision without all the necessary information with knowledge about finances. Individuals can approach major life choices with greater confidence. They'll be more likely to achieve the outcome they desire and less likely to be surprised or negatively impacted by unforeseen outcomes. Basically, being proactive about your finances, dotting your I's, crossing your T's. Sometimes life does happen, though. I will say that, but try to cover all of your bases as best as you can in a proactive way, and in anticipating things to happen. Sometimes it does rain. It rains. Expect for the best. Expect for expansion. Expect for growth, but also think about the downside. If things don't go your way, do you have a plan there strategically, aka emergency fund? Or things may come up like a layoff. You just want to make sure you are prepared for that. Of course, you don't operate in fear, but that's just a part of the game. So you have to make sure that you're ready for that too, if it happens. If you're covered and blessed and it doesn't happen to you, kudos to you. That's great. But hey, if you're in corporate, it happens. If you work 20 years, 30 years, it's a possibility. It can happen. So now let's get into some of the strategies to improve financial literacy skills. And first, I want to say again, is it doesn't happen overnight. So as I'm going through this, and if you do feel like you are overwhelmed, don't be. Just take it one day at a time. The biggest thing is don't do anything that you don't understand. First, you need to understand, then we can get to the application. So it's always good to understand the context, but it does require you to do some research and due diligence as well, and not just rely on someone telling you something. Trust but verify. And that's with financial advisors, that's with people that you meet, that's with someone helping you out. Just always make sure you have an understanding yourself before you implement something. Let's get into the strategies. One, here are several practical strategies to consider. Create a budget. That's pretty self-explanatory. There's many different budgeting apps out there. Maybe I'll do some review videos giving you some ideas on which ones you can try out. I don't necessarily have any affiliation with any budgeting apps or anything, and so it'll definitely be for you to do your research when I shoot videos talking about budgeting apps that you can use. Maybe doing a comparison that can help you out with your research. Pay yourself first. That goes without saying. You always pay yourself first. That is a philosophy that I live by, and I'm challenging you to live by that. Whatever that amount is initially, whether it's 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever that looks like, pay yourself first as if it's a bill. That's just what has worked for me. So I'm challenging you to do that, because you can end up paying bills and you don't have any money left for yourself. And with you working so hard, you also got to think about your future. Pay bills promptly. This is really speaking to making sure you have good credit. Pay your bills on time in advance if you can. What does help with that is automatic debits. I know. I remember back in the day when I didn't make a lot of money, or let's just say I made enough money, but maybe I was making some bad decisions. It didn't feel good to set things up on automatic draft because I didn't know if I would have enough in there. It was a muscle that I had to develop. So you can develop the muscle, but what it does is it helps you stay consistent with paying things on time. You're human and you can forget that you had a particular bill due on a particular month, and all it takes is that one missed payment and it impacts your credit. Get your, and the next thing up is get your credit report, transitioning into that. So you can get one for free if you didn't know. I'm reading it here, but if you didn't know, you can get a copy for free once a year. Consumers can request a free credit report for each of the three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, through the federally created website annualcreditreport.com. I've done that myself. You can do it too. And so it's always good to understand what's on your credit, because sometimes it may be something on there that you weren't even aware. So you absolutely want to check on that. Check on your credit score. This is where having credit monitoring services that can be very helpful for you, just keeping up with it. But with your credit score, what is really going to help you do is get some of the best rates when it comes to you can get some of the best rates on loans and credit cards. It allow you to monitor via a free credit monitoring service, or if you can afford to, you can get a credit monitoring service, which will give you an extra layer where you can protect your personal information. In addition, be aware of what can raise or lower your scores, such as credit inquiries and credit utilization ratio. So be mindful of that. It's really not complicated, but it's definitely important. Manage debt. That's pretty self explanatory. In here, you can use your budget to stay on top of debt by reducing spending and increasing repayment. So, you want to develop a debt reduction plan, such as paying down the loan with the highest interest rate first. If your debt is excessive, contact lenders to renegotiate repayment, consolidate loans, or find a debt counseling program. Now, I will call this out when it comes to managing debt. You don't have to overcomplicate it. If you have debt, the method that worked for us was the snowball method. It was very simple, wasn't overly complicated. Lowest debt to the highest debt, and we just went to work. That was the simplest way for us. This one is calling out the avalanche method. It makes sense to do the avalanche, but what I found, we've got a lot of traction doing the debt snowball, because once you pay off one, you start building momentum, and it just compounds in a good way. So I would recommend the snowball method. That's what works for me. Next strategy up, you want to invest in your future. If your employer offers a 401k retirement savings account, sign up and get that match. Consider opening an IRA and creating a diversified investment portfolio of stocks, fixed income, and commodities. If necessary, seek financial advice from professional advisors to help you determine how much money you will need to retire comfortably and develop strategies to reach your goal. So, yes, strategies. These are just giving you some example strategies to implement, because you will be implementing them on some levels. But I think first you need to take a step back and understand what it is that you're looking to accomplish. What's your purpose? What are you looking to do? And getting someone to help you with that is really important as well. Sure, you can do a lot of it on your own time, but being a working professional, and if this isn't necessarily your industry, your background, you can get there, but get some help. That's all I'm looking to communicate there. Why is financial literacy important? If you're still wondering, financial literacy gives an individual tools and resources they need to be financially secure throughout their life. The lack of financial literacy can lead to many pitfalls, such as overspending, accumulating unsustainable debt burdens. This, in turn, can lead to poor credit for sure, bankruptcy, housing foreclosure, or other negative consequences. If you're wondering, how do I become financial literate? Let's see what the article says. Becoming financially literate involves learning and practicing a variety of skills related to budgeting, managing and paying off debts, and understanding credit and investment products. Basic steps to improve your personal finances include creating a budget, keeping track of expenses, making timely payments, being prudent about saving money, and investing. Periodically checking your credit report and investing for your future. What are some popular budgeting rules. This one, I'm going to read these. The biggest thing is budget. You can always tweak it, but let's get a budget. But these are the different ones. You got the 50-20-30, which are one of the common ones, and then you have the 70-20-10 rule. And their simplicity is what makes them popular. The first entails dividing your after tax take home pay into three areas: needs 50%, savings 20%, and wants 30%. I know people that use this one. Then you have the 70-20-10 rule. Also follows a similar blueprint, recommending that your after-tax take-home income be divided into segments that cater to expenses 70%. That's high. That's kind of high. Savings are reducing debt by 20%, and investments and charitable donations 10%. Do the one that works for you. I'd say start now, but if you can save and invest more, that would be ideal. You just got to run the projections. What are the principles of financial literacy? There are five broad principles of financial literacy, though other models may list different key components. The overarching goal of financial literacy is to teach individuals about earning, spending, saving, borrowing, and protecting their money. As we close out this article, let's see what they're talking about with the bottom line. So the bottom line, financial literacy is financial literacy is the knowledge of various aspects of personal finance and the ability to make smart decisions about money. It includes preparing a budget, knowing how much to save, recognizing favorable loan terms, understanding what impacts credit, and distinguishing different investment options that can be used to save for retirement. The financial skills that come from financial literacy can help individuals handle their personal finances responsibly, which in turn can help them protect the well being of their financial future. And now you know what financial literacy is. What I would encourage you to do is to subscribe to the channel. There's going to be more content coming. We're going to go on a journey and we're going to learn one video at a time. We're going to enhance our financial literacy, as you can see with this Investopedia article, the importance of it. And I think we all know the importance of it. And so we're going to talk about those things. This is for the common person, and we're going to go one step at a time. But until the next video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think about the article. Tell me what were your takeaways. Until the next time,